Retro, let's get it. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. Yeah, it's lit in the chop shop. Turn your dials up in the drop top. They ain't based to debate, but they keep it fact straight. Going 30 for 30, let's do a first take. On Facebook Live from 12 to 2. Rob Hatter and Jim Hicks going back and forth like Carter Ray, Skip Bayless and Stephen Smith. From on the court, off the court, straight to the field. Not a man that steals, but I made it steal. To the octagon where I fight to kill. We go face to face, then you write your will. I don't play tennis, but I bring the racket. I'm on the floor, I attack the basket. Put you in the casket when I'm overlapping. Never showing mercy, cause I'm always snapping. Never showing mercy when I'm in the arena. Step into the ring, he hit me as I beat him. Step into the court, I'm never backing down. Killing shot, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. Yeah, it's lit in the chop shop. Turn your dials up in the drop top. They ain't based to debate, but they keep it fact straight. Going 30 for 30, let's do a first take. On Facebook Live from 12 to 2. Rob Hatter and Jim Hicks going back and forth like Carter Ray, Skip Bayless and Stephen Smith. From on the court, shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. Rob Hatter, you are now tuned in to the chop shop. I'm Retro, let's get it. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the
call. It has Mike Boynton.
H-Town, what's up? You know what time it is. It's time for the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks, coming to you live from Houston, Texas, broadcasting all over the world via Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Great day in sports for you today. And I'm going to start off. Jimmy's going to be in a minute. We got another guest. He's trying to link him into the call. When I tell you we got two special guests today, we got two special guests today. But let me tell you something. I want to just share some stuff with you. First of all, happy Women Rock Wednesday. So let me shout out to Tyandra Holmes. Anissa Villa was the first person that signed on. Who else we have? Jessica Brooks. And I'm going down the line. Hold on, ladies. Oh, Mindy Collins. Y'all got my people in here. Mindy Collins, Tyandra Holmes. I said it again. Sonia Billingsley. Women Rock Wednesday. Our women are in the building early today. And women, we got something for you. Hey, women, we got some men for you today. Women. Jimmy, are you ready? I can bring Jimmy into the screen. I push this button, and now Jimmy is in the screen. But Jimmy, we had 60,000 strong was estimated yesterday at the George Floyd Memorial Service. I call it a celebration of life. And I was just so proud to be live in Houston. Great moments. And I want to share with y'all something. And I hope a little bit more people on the show. Because I want y'all to go back and loop this one, Jimmy. I want to explain to you the importance of voting. The importance of voting. I'm gonna show you something. And people got to come back. You got to share this and go back. Got this information. We could right now, ladies and gentlemen, have have an anti-lynching bill, Jimmy. We could right now in the United States have an anti-lynching bill. It called the Emmett Till anti-lynching bill, and we're one freaking vote that's holding up the whole thing, one senator, and he won't tell why. That's the importance of voting. One guy. Ferguson now have a black mayor. This same Ferguson. They voted Ella Jones as the city's first black mayor as the protest of George Floyd and the police treating and just railing the nation. Just think about that. We got a black police chief in Minnesota. Guess what, y'all? If he don't arrest these guys, they still don't be arrested. Jimmy, this is just so much stuff. All you anti-voting guys, y'all sit on the sideline right now. We ain't talking to y'all. Jimmy, we one vote in the Senate away from having an anti-lynching bill. It's very, very, very important bill. That bill, think about how crazy this thing is, Jimmy. They know they want to lynch us, so it's crazy out here, man. But Jimmy, I know we got special guests. I don't want to hold it up. It's Women Rock Wednesday. Shout out to all the women on the air today. But Jimmy, what do you have in store for the people today? Yeah, yeah. I like that poem. A pond is synonymous. Pool and pool and pond. The two P's. You can use them. Oh, Jimmy, hold up, Jimmy. You muted. I'm sorry. I had to mute you a long time ago. You mute. Jimmy, you got to go back. Jimmy, hey, you got to go back. Say that all over again.
I guess in.
Yeah, I had to mute it. I had to mute him, y'all.
Showed up yesterday, downtown Houston, 60,000 estimated people that were in a peaceful protest for the most part. And one thing I noticed this morning was on the front page of the Houston Chronicle. I'm showing you guys again. Front page Houston Chronicle. As you see, this is the pond, that's what is called, that's located in front of City Hall. This pond on yesterday, it turned into a pool for a lot. This was a pool party. And as I've said, black folk don't normally get in the pool at the pool party, guy. And guess what? They not only got in the pool, but they practiced social distancing, physical distancing, while in the water. And that was the most, also that photo probably is going to win the photographer an award later on. The journalism, I'm serious. That has a lot of meaning to it.
And anyway, you're the only person I know that still got the paper.
Yeah, I get it 7 days a week. Now they used to be 4 days a week. Now it's 7 days a week. They upgraded and gave you the other 3 days free. But I want to speak real quickly on racism. And once again, in a couple of minutes, we're going to be joined by Oklahoma State men's basketball head coach Mike Bunton. I'm reading.
That's all right. That's all right. I got you.
I'm sorry. But real quick on racism. I love to give analogies and my Hicksisms, as you guys may call them affectionately. And I was thinking about, and this is the disclaimer, this is no views and opinions on any of the coaches that are about to come on the show today. I'm just giving you my theory on it. For those of you whom are white and watching the Chop Shop, for those of you who are black and really don't understand, which is unfound, hard to believe, don't understand the concept of racism, I would compare it to this on a very lower scale for you understanding. Think of the NCAA and think of recent accusations or situations of academics or any type of incident or violation that have been applied to some of the blue bloods. So I don't have to name the name of the school. Just think about the Blue Bloods. And think of the rate of which they are punished versus the rate of which the non-Blue Bloods, which is the 99th percentile of the NCAA Division I schools, are punished for similar infractions. That's compatible to what understanding what's going on in society. And when those other schools, they don't say it publicly, but they get really pissed every time they see a slap on the wrist for the same worst crimes or worst violations committed by those Blue Bloods. And then you get mad at them and punish him, throw the book at this one. They want to get it out so that way you guys can make, that may be a way that when you're having the conversation, that another person may be able to really open up to kind of get it, because they may be so fond of their university and wonder why so-and-so gets away with it, but they don't. Think about it like that. But without further ado, we get right up into it and get our first guest on today. Great combos going to be on tap. We're going to continue the conversation, right? And that's a conversation it shouldn't stop. This different conversation, because once again, if nothing else, it's therapeutic for many. It really is. It feels good sometimes to get stuff out and get it out the way without attacking in a civilized manner, and just explain to you guys what's going on out here. Because everybody, understand, there's an old saying, your blues ain't like mine. Remember that. So just because you think you have it bad, you don't never know how bad the next, or it may be for the next person, or good, vice versa. But without further ado, we have with us, man, a guy that's has been really making noise.
Yes, sir.
And just defeating the odds every day as far as a head college coach, a black head college coach in America. And we know we had Leonard Hamilton on a couple of weeks ago, and he ignited a conversation about the black head coach in men's basketball in the ratio of how many black student athletes on the basketball team. And also the ratio of which a lot of the guys, when they get these jobs, before they get to become this head coach, everybody treats them like good puppies, cute puppy. Hey, what's going on, coach? Hey, man, everybody want to talk. But when you become the head coach and you land that one player that everybody else thought that was anointed for them.
Penny Hardaway. Keep going.
Penny, and we had Penny on the show a couple weeks ago as well.
Yeah.
And understand, it changes. And so we have right now, we have Mike Martin, Oklahoma State.
Hold on. Let me get
basketball.
I give Mike his. Hold up, Mike. I got something else for you right here. Yeah.
Coach, welcome to the Chop Shop. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. I appreciate you, Hicks, Cheat, and Hada. I mean, it's been too long since I've been here, man.
Oh man, we got you right back up in there. We get right in and waste no
time.
We waste no time with it.
Hey, I heard you guys really quick talking about Coach Hamilton, and Hada, you may not know this. I'm sure Jimmy knows this. So prior to my becoming the head coach at Oklahoma State, Leonard Hamilton was the first black head coach at Oklahoma State.
Yes.
Yeah. So in the late 80s, and built some powerhouse teams. And obviously the late, great Eddie Sutton took those teams that Leonard left and went on a big time run here through the 90s and early 2000s. But Leonard really built this thing up with the type of guys he started bringing in here when he was here in Stillwater back in the late 80s.
Wow. And you know, I mean, one of the things, tell me this, before we get into it, what is the sentiment of Leonard Hamilton? Because I looked as far as the pedigree and the road travel of active black head coaches in college basketball, Division I, that is. He's on the active Mount Rushmore.
Absolutely.
But do the guy sometimes, even though you could be there, and the people that are new boots and assistant coaches, it don't feel like they're giving him the same type of accolades as they did a Chaney or Nolan. But at the same time, they won the national championship. Well, I mean, what Nolan did, and Georgetown made to the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it seemed like it's not. Am I missing something?
No, I think you're right on. I mean, I think we've lost our way in regards to admiring and appreciating guys like Leonard Hamilton. I was really fortunate when I first got into the business of coaching, and you know this, Coach George Raveling is probably my greatest mentor. So it was 2005 at the Final Four in St. Louis, and Coach Rav said, when you get out there, we need to get together like we always do. And he told me, hey, listen, we're going to dinner tonight. You need to be ready. And in the room, John Chaney, George Raveling, John Thompson, Nolan Richardson, Mike Anderson, World Wide West was in there because he always in the building. So, and it was just amazing to sit amongst that group. I felt like they were ushering me into the club and was going to allow me to be a part of the legacy that they had built. And I got just such great admiration for all those guys. And I respect Coach Hamilton in the same vein as those guys. And he's obviously carried this on for a long time at a lot of different places. And he's done it pretty quietly somehow. I mean, all the success he's had, he doesn't get talked about, certainly on a national scale, the way he should.
I mean, and so what can be done to increase that type of awareness and to make it better? Because it's like he's the Don, Coach Ham, of active head coaches that are Black. And right now the direction, because everybody that's you see the narrative coming from beneath the waters, from our side of the fence, as Black folk. Well, we had leadership. We need leadership. We need that's the catchphrase of the week.
Jimmy, that's not a catchphrase. That's really true. But don't nobody want to step up to be the leader. It's not a catchphrase. Leadership is very important. It's very important. People probably use it as a cliche, but leadership in any organization is very, very important. I just want to interject that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I think that's a big problem that's plaguing us as a country right now.
Okay.
We lack leadership.
Okay.
And true direction.
So what Jim? I think Jimmy was in y'all circle. Okay. All you Black head coaches right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many it is of y'all. Have y'all just during this pandemic? Have y'all with the adventure? I know you're zooming, so have y'all, every last one of y'all, it ain't that many of y'all, got on a call and said, hey man, hey, if somebody took the leadership role and said, hey man, I don't care if he tell me no, man, I want you on this call. I want you on this call. Man, let's talk about this stuff, all of us, because it ain't many of us. I wish somebody would find it out for me, Jimmy. Jimmy, it ain't many of us. Damon Stoudemire, Penny Hardaway,
Quanzo Martin, Mike Anderson, Shaka Smart, Ed Cooley.
To me, and maybe I'm just throwing it out there. In this pandemic, man, y'all should be plotting. Y'all should be planning. We telling the marchers and the protesters to plot, to plan, to be strategized. To me, Coach, this is a great time. And I know y'all.
I think you're 100% right. Yeah, part of it I would say is I think everybody was thrown off by this virus deal.
Okay.
And so everybody in their own circle trying to figure out what are we dealing with from a health standpoint. And everybody's players have shot off to different parts of wherever they're from. And I think what happened with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery in the last month has ignited that fire to unite outside of this virus because police brutality and systematic racism and the lack of opportunities is also detrimental to our well-being. And in many cases, maybe just as detrimental as the COVID-19. Because if you get sick and get over COVID-19, you still gonna not have the same opportunities that most of your peers gonna have. So there's been a lot more talks here in the last week, for sure, about getting together and creating a more centralized plan, being more organized. And I talked to Shaka probably 5 or 6 times in the last week, and we don't usually talk that often. We got a good relationship. We just don't communicate often enough. And I told him that, and he expressed the same. And the same thing with Kwanzaa Martin at Missouri, and the same thing with Ed Cooley at Providence, and Patrick Ewing, and Mike Anderson. All of us, because at the end of the day, old saying, we all we got.
Indeed. And speaking of we all got, I want to ask you something from the top of the show. Is that before, tell us about the relationships that you may have had with, because I noticed, and not just you, but a lot of black head coaches. There's relationships that you had before you became head coach. There's relationships that you had when you're not, long as you're not winning the conference.
Mm-hmm.
There's relationship that you have when, or different relationships you have when you land that All-American player, that elite magna cum laude player. Mm-hmm. The different levels of relationship, meaning that people look at you or extract themselves from, or you maybe extract them from your life at different layers of your advancement. Take us back to before you got this head job. Did you experience a lot of guys you thought were your guys, a lot of grassroots coaches, whatever, that you dealt with in the trenches, and you became head coach, and all of a sudden things changed?
Yeah, I'll tell you this, it's changed both ways. So as an assistant coach, and I've always tried to be, I think most people would say I've been the same from the time, I was 18 to 38, 20 years, I ain't changed at all. And I try to be my genuine, authentic self, no matter who I'm around or who I'm dealing with. But as an assistant coach, you're not as much of a threat to people in power. All right. Even though you may recruit against them, they kind of look down on you a little bit. So you have a different circle. When you cross that threshold and become a head coach, now you got some, I really don't even like power. I like influence. You got real influence. You got to sit at the table in real conversations. And so I saw both ways. People who were head coaches, now I was an adversary to. I wasn't somebody to look eye to eye to. I was somebody who could I'm a threat to their territory. and it's okay. I mean, I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
You just stay over there and do that.
Gotcha.
Then as you talk, we've had a little bit of success in recruiting, and we got some momentum with where we think we're building our program, and had an opportunity to have a really good recruiting class. Mm-hmm. And there's no question that you can feel that people look at you differently. And that maybe when you walk in the room, guys are whispering a little bit more like, wonder what they're doing over there. Because now, man, he ain't supposed to get that kid. Mm-hmm. We're supposed to get that kid.
Mm.
And what I say is, nah, you're supposed to work. And if I outwork you, or I work smarter than you did, then I don't feel any shame about it. And better believe on game day, I'm coming for you. I'm not going to back down. And I'm going to keep trying to fight for what I believe we can do here. But there's no question that the conversation changes when people view you as a threat to their power, a threat to their control over a situation. The handshake line is totally different after a win and a loss. I'm just telling you.
I'll tell you what.
Your hand when they beat you.
I'm going to show you how much your threat is. It's been a long time since we had a troll on the Chop Shop. So troll popped up on here. We're not used to him, but I got rid of his ass. And guess what? I'm a lot better at getting rid of the next one. So evidently, I'm telling you, Mike, that's why I know this is going to be a great show. Whenever you're getting trolls, ladies and gentlemen, on the Boom Boom Room, don't threat. That means you're making an impact.
Absolutely.
Whenever Mike is making an impact, your soul. I was trying, Mike. I'm glad it's you, so I can talk about it with you and congratulate you, because people thought it was self-serving because of my relationship at Memphis and from Memphis and being from Memphis and going to the school and Penny being. People just thought you mad because no, dude. If that kid had went to Kentucky, and I'll say it, James Wiseman, wouldn't nobody have said nothing.
Nope.
Nothing would have been said. Absolute nothing. So when he go to the black coach, and the black coach say, I want all the smoke. Because that's just who he is.
No question.
See, that's what sometimes we got to do, man. We got to embrace who we are. But
100%.
If we got to, Mike, I thought about, I love how you move. Mike, I was watching you at the Peach Jam.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Mike, you move in silence.
Yeah, I don't say a whole lot.
Mike, you're by yourself. You ain't got, when I saw you, you didn't have your group of coaches with you. You didn't have, so, I mean, hey, man, you keep doing whatever you're doing up there, man. Keep doing. I know some great, great allies of yours. Matter of fact, several of them are on the feed right now. Stacey Houston. Man, keep doing what you're doing, man. We proud of you. But, Jimmy, what else you got for Mike?
Yeah, also, recently, the Federal Appeals Court upheld a ruling that will allow colleges to pay for any education-related expenses for the student athletes. And
what does that mean? I want to know. Because Jimmy was talking about some other stuff. Mike, tell me, Mike. And Mike, Mike, you own a chop shop. But now hold up. If compliance say something about it, don't do it. But tell us what that means.
And you don't have to put out no disclaimer for me, man. See, the reason I moved the way I moved, because I don't worry about making people nervous, man.
Okay.
It don't matter to me.
Okay.
You're going to have to get comfortable with me being here and being me here.
Hold on, y'all. Let me give him a little bell.
And I don't, I just feel like I'm not gonna. I worked hard enough, right? I respect everybody, and like I don't have to take a back seat, and I don't have to be different on the chop shop than I am on the white TV station.
Okay,
it don't matter to me. I'll be myself in both scenarios, and people going to accept it or not like it. So, what I think it just gives us an opportunity is to empower the athletes.
Okay,
and it puts an onus on us to do what we tell them we're going to do. When I go sit in that kid living room and say, I'm going to look out for you. Well, it's kind of like this stuff we got going on now. We kind of get off topic here.
No,
but
come on. No, you were not.
I've seen no less than 1,000 different coaches and entertainers put out statements in the last 4 or 5 days. It's kind of the thing to do is put out a statement and express your anger and disappointment and frustration. And you just couldn't sleep last night because you care so much about that man and his family. And that's great. Yeah. Because now you're on record. Now you're on record. And so what you going to do about it?
You saw the show yesterday. That's exactly what I said.
I didn't see the show.
Okay.
But what you going to do about it?
That's exactly what I said. What you gonna do?
Before they didn't say nothing. They just but they knew it was happening. But now we got a captive audience, Hatter.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And now we can hold their feet to the fire. My whole thing is keep applying pressure. Don't let this thing go away. Don't let it go away. Every week when you having a conversation, hey, remember that boy got killed in that street in Minneapolis, right? You saw that boy in Georgia. Black lives still matter. In 2 months from now, when people aren't rioting no more, it's still gonna matter.
But Mike, I don't want you to get with Jimmy questioning, because then I'm gonna come back and piggyback on that one. Yeah. What does being able? What's the rule, Jimmy? Being able
to pay for education-related expenses for the student athletes. That the appeal court overruled it. Now, of course, the NCAA is gonna try to take it to the Supreme Court.
Oh, right. Okay.
But as it stands, we're only one hurdle away. And the education-related expenses, as it stands, put it like this. I can help out, Coach. But tell us what all you can provide for the student athletes right now. What all can you provide?
So in a full scholarship, you got tuition, room and board, which is basically a living, books, any fees associated with the school. Obviously, you can provide them meals. And then above that, you can provide cash up to the cost of attendance, which, because that don't all add up to the $45,000 that they say it costs to go to school.
Okay. Exactly.
So there's a window here that we got to fill in and put this money in these kids' pocket instead of putting it back in the university's pocket. Because I don't know if you guys know this, when a university offers a scholarship to a kid, the school pays the school.
Say that again.
You understand how that works, right?
Say that again, because people think that you're joking.
Hold up, Mike. You made me choke.
So Hatter, I want to offer you a scholarship to come to Oklahoma State.
Yes, sir. I accept.
You're going to come to school.
Okay.
And you're not going to get a bill, but nobody else is either.
But the money got to come. Where the money coming from?
It come from the school.
It comes from the school, not from the government at all.
No. So the scholarships in many cases are funded with booster donations and stuff like that.
Okay.
But the money is already in the house.
Okay. I like that.
It's just not no money going out the house.
I like that, Coach. I like that. Keep going. Keep going.
I will say this, because I'm not trying to say we have a totally fraudulent system. I believe in education.
Me too.
I believe there's great value in this experience. Athletes. I'll speak for myself. I didn't pay anything to go to the University of South Carolina, but I damn sure gained a lot in my 4 years there. All right. I was able to get an education. I was able to meet people. I was able to learn about myself. I played a sport that I love. I worked really hard now. I had to earn that, but I gained a lot out of that as well. So it's not, sometimes I think people make it seem like it's completely one-sided, when in actuality, it leans to the school. The school benefits, especially if they have really good teams. But there's a lot of benefit to these kids going through this from a mental health standpoint, from I got a couple kids on my team. This is the best place they've ever lived in their life.
Wow. Mike, let me tell you something. I got to tell this story, and I hope you don't mind me telling it. I remember when Sam Cassell was at San Jac, okay? And Coach and Coach whoever recruited him at Florida State, they asked him, man, do you want to go back to Baltimore or come straight to Florida State? That man said, man, I want to go straight to Florida State. I don't want to go back up to Baltimore. Robert, the living situations up there was different.
Absolutely.
And that kid never, and guess what? He never turned, he understood. That's why he always saved his money. And always, people call him tight. People call him, he used to walk around, when he go back to Baltimore, he walk around with his pants, with his pockets hanging out. So people can't ask for no money. Ain't no money in it. So, but he just said he didn't want to go back there. That's the best he ever left. He lived. And you touched a chord with me. I mean, he said, no, I don't want to go back to Baltimore. We had a lock on our refrigerator when my mama left and went. You follow me? That's
absolutely.
So
I'm glad you brought that up. What else you got, Jim?
Yeah, well, I want to add to what the topic before we move on to the next one. That is, now, can you guys provide a suit and a tie for the players as well?
Yes. Now, so a lot of this stuff has come down. This is why this whole idea of all these programs at different schools being equal it's just not reality.
Okay.
All right. We have much more people who donate much more money to our university.
Gotcha.
So the Power 5 schools, generally speaking, have more cash flow on hand. So that legislation you're talking about is what they call permissive, Jimmy. You're allowed to do it, but you're not mandated to do it.
Oh, gotcha.
That makes sense?
So if you got it, you can.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
It's no different than cost of attendance. Not every school pays cost of attendance because it's permissive. Now, some schools who don't have the cash flow, they can't afford to give out $800 checks every month to all their athletes on scholarship.
I like that.
So among other things that this new ruling, and once again, this is good. This is big for a lot of student athletes. It's just it hadn't cleared the final hurdle yet, but the NCAA is fighting it every single step of the way. Even though they're going to vote in the name, image, likeness, Absolutely. But they don't want this because this will come out of the coffers. Name, image, likeness does not come out of the kitty for the NCAA. And so among other things that student athletes will be able to receive, they will be able to receive computers.
Yep.
They will be able to receive iPads. They will be able to receive musical instruments. If you play in the band and you wanted to practice at home, they will be able to receive that for those that have the budget to do so.
Think about this one.
All related expenses.
Think about this one. This is probably going to sound really simple. Mm-hmm. Right now, when a kid is coming, and we bring all of our kids in the summertime. Mm-hmm. Kid graduate high school, he go to college if he on a basketball football team because they train all summer. Mm. We don't pay for them to come here.
Y'all don't pay for them to come in the summer?
We don't pay the travel expenses. So if a kid's gonna come to Oklahoma State from the state of Washington, he got to figure that out on his own.
Why?
That's just the way the rules is written. Those are extra benefits that aren't afforded to every normal student, right?
I got you. Okay, that's good.
That are going to be a part of this deal. Well, we're bringing them here to go to school.
That's a good point. I got one for you. The
boom boom room. Yeah,
I got the boom boom room. They just said, how about if they feel the FAFSA,
the FAFSA,
the FAFSA, and qualify and receive financial aid?
Yep. Yeah, so anything that they get outside of the university is fair game because those are federal programs for everybody.
Oh.
We make every one of our players American players because we got a couple internationals.
Okay.
They're not eligible for those type of funds. Those are U.S. federal grants mostly. So we have them all fill it out, and a lot of them, because of their backgrounds, they qualify for it.
Oh, so you can have. So let's say you got a brainiac on your team, but he happened to be able to ball too.
Yep.
He can also have an academic scholarship that can be paying him also, and that don't factor into.
Well, the only challenge with that is in basketball. So in basketball, there are no partial scholarships.
Oh. So where would that money go? So he couldn't use that money at all?
Unless it was a grant where it's a cash payout, there's really nowhere.
Okay.
Because usually the scholarships come from a fund to a fund.
Okay.
But there's no expense to be paid for a college athlete on full scholarship. And some of the other sports that they call equivalencies, and I think like soccer and baseball and tennis, they sometimes can only get books, or they get meals and books, or they get just their room and board. Well, now, if they qualify for something else, they can add that to it. But for basketball players, there's no partial. It's all full. We call head count sports. You get 13. Everybody that's on one has all the same expenses paid for.
I got something for you, Stacey. Stacy got one for you. You know it's gonna be rough. He said, ask Mike, why is there 2 black coaches organizations? And does he agree with there being 2 organizations? Also, how or why do the organizations work together? That's a good one, Mike. I didn't even know I didn't know this, but keep going. I did not.
Yeah, I think it kind of hits on what we talked about before.
Okay.
There was a lot more unity amongst black coaches 25 years ago. Mm-hmm. In fact, Coach Ravlin used to
20 years ago
told me stories of if Nolan Richardson was recruiting and needed a point guard, John Thompson and John Chaney knew that Nolan Richardson needed a point guard. Mm-hmm. So while they're in D.C. and Philly and they see a point guard and they don't need one themselves, they would call that coach and say, hey, this kid needs to go down to Arkansas and play for Nolan Richardson.
No, wow.
Absolutely. And so those guys supported and helped one another have success. We don't have that thought process anymore. So back to Stacy's question, there's two, because we can't relinquish power. It's kind of like this. I'm not bagging on AAU, but it's no different than in Houston. How many AAU teams was there in 1999?
A fraction of what they are now.
Right. And now everybody wants to have their own.
Okay.
And under the cloak of providing more opportunities for kids. Well, that's not true.
Okay.
In New York City, where I grew up, there were two pretty much AAU programs when I grew up. There was Riverside Church, who I played for, and the Gauchos.
Yeah.
That was it. There was still a lot of kids who played basketball, but those organizations just had multiple teams, and those kids always competed. Now you may have an A, a B, and a C team, and your B and your C team didn't travel nationally like your A and your A team did, but it wasn't like kids were missing out on opportunities.
Mike, do me a favor, because I don't know the name of the coaches associations. What are the name of the two?
Well, one is the NAFCED.
What is it?
NAFCED. It's pretty new.
Okay.
And I don't know if I know the official name of the other one, to be perfectly honest.
It used to be the BCA back.
It used to be the BCA.
It started off being the Black Coaches Association.
Okay.
And then right around 2003-ish, that's when you start to have that rift. Once a lot of those the Cheneys and the John Thompson, them, I mean that four, Joe Ravlin, Nolan Richardson, John Chaney, John Thompson. Once they start to loosen up and not, then that's when the water started to boil.
Yep.
Back then,
why did the water start to boil, Jimmy?
Well, because there were a lot of, and the reason I'm saying this, guys, because at that time, because when I first came on the scene, and so I was thirsty for a lot of intel, and the rules were lax. I actually would go to the Final Four and sit in those meetings in the convention center. And this was the one that I went to every year. It was more attractive. Understand, that was social media wasn't what it is now.
Right.
So I just read the itinerary in the lobby and like, oh, I got to go to this meeting. I didn't have to read the network that I have now at that time. I'm just walking in. So I was just hungry. I'm going to go to this one. I'm going to go to the assistant coaches meeting. And it was the BCA, Black Coaches Administrators. Well, here's what happened. When those guys, when it was time to vote in a new president leader, there were some people, think about it, that means to vote you in, if you and
somebody else out.
Coach going for y'all both got y'all secret shadow movement going on to be the next in charge. The vote is a fair vote, but how do you lose the vote? So, Coach,
why had to lose the damn vote? No, but keep going. I'm sorry.
So what happens is, and that's how I lose. Think about it. I'm telling you how it went down. You lose the vote, and Coach don't realize that you really don't like him like that until you lose the vote. Now you want to get all your people that was in your movement, and you're like, man, you know what? Forget this, man. Let's go start our own, man. This ain't, and this is kind of like a lot of Black coaches felt that they were not getting the jobs that they thought they deserved at the time. And because there were a lot of Black assistant coaches, and there's always been a lot of Black assistant coaches. And that's kind of like, so then first thing that they did when they changed the new leadership was it took a little bit of the potency of the Black punch out. Here's what they did. They wanted to incorporate more than just coaches. Right?
They wanted to bring in ADs and
yes,
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, no, they did, which I thought was smart.
I got it.
They renamed it it was still BCA. They renamed it the Black Coaches and Administrators. And people got mad at that. And the next thing you know, you had a movement of guys trying to just pull away, and that's kind of the rest is history. And we get back to you, Coach, and regarding
I'm gonna get back to Coach, but Coach, your silence, Coach. Let me tell you something. You being a young, a new coach, head coach, your silence in this. Coach, you didn't even know the name of the other organization that much, Coach. That tells volumes. And if we can move on, if you want to move on about it, we can move on about it. But it spoke volumes to me that a young coach like you, up and coming Power 5 conference coach, if you are not really a part of it, because you don't really know the name of it, something that I got to do some more research on it. I never thought about it. But there was another question piggybacking off of that one. It said, can you be members of both? And is it beneficial to be members of both of these things? Or do you know somebody that's a member of both, Coach?
I don't, because again, I don't know much about it. Okay. But I would guess, and it's totally guess, that you could. And I think it's kind of counterproductive in many ways, though. Right?
Okay, I got you.
I think if there are two, and we can figure out who this other one is, we got to find a way to pool all. You guys were talking about a pool earlier.
Right.
We got to pull together. We got to get this thing all together, because we have the same issues, and we've had the same issues for a long time.
Wow. I just Googled that, right? And the Undefeated, they wrote, I can't wait to go read it. The Undefeated wrote an article about it back in 2018. I can't wait to go read it. What you got? Hey, everybody on the Facebook feed is Coach. All they talking about right now. I want to hear about Cade Cunningham. I want to hear about Cade Cunningham. That's all I want to hear about. One guy, Theo Huxtable, said, hey, I got to hear the expectations of Cade Cunningham. Will he be using more on the ball, off the ball? If that, at least 2 years, he must stay to be a pro, to get ready for a pro. What? I know that's hard, but you'll never know how that's going to happen. But, Coach, what do you think about?
And also add before you answer, Coach, did you have to fight off the G League for Cade?
Good question.
Cunningham?
Yeah, that's fair. First of all, when I think of Cade, it's only one word that comes to my mind is special. I mean, I first saw this kid. I'm gonna give you guys the 25-cent version of the story. I first saw Cade when he was a freshman in high school, and I wasn't going to see him. I was going to Arlington Bowie High School to recruit a kid named Kyler Edwards, who's going to be a junior at Texas Tech. I was an assistant.
Could you stop that, Coach, right there?
Yeah.
And rewind and say that one more time so the people in the back can hear us. You say you wasn't going looking for him and you found him, but keep going.
In 2016, I was an assistant coach at Oklahoma State under Brad Underwood. And I was going to Arlington Bowie High School to watch Kyler Edwards practice. And I was recruiting him. We wanted him. I walk into his school, and his coach, Coach Gratz, says, hey, while you're here, you might want to take a look at this kid. Now, I'm going to give you my frame of mind. Coach, I came to see this kid. I mean, I don't need you to just put another one on, But I respect. I'm gonna watch him, and I'll tell you my thoughts on him. And so in comes this kid, and he says, yeah, he had a brother who played at SMU a few years back, and so he's got a chance. Now, I'm thinking that this kid is a senior that he's trying to help. So he wants me to watch him and give him my thought, maybe call somebody or start recruiting him. And I watched this kid practice, and I'm like, damn, that kid's pretty good. Maybe I can call somebody to help him. So I asked the coach and said, hey, tell me, so what's going on? Is it grades? He doesn't have grades? Does he have anybody recruit him? He's like, no, nobody's recruiting him. I was, something ain't right. That kid's talented. He said, well, he's 14. And I say, literally, at that moment, I need to talk to Kyler. And I did. I said, but I can't let that kid leave without letting him know I need him in Stillwater. And I offered him a scholarship on site. I didn't even call back to Stillwater to tell Brad I was doing it. He was that impressive at 14. And so I went on to start recruiting him like my life depended on it. And then I became the head coach a year later. And I told him I was going to recruit him harder than any coach in the country. Let's put this in some perspective. That same year, in the same city, essentially, in the same class, was RJ Hampton. And I literally left Arlington Bowie and drove from there to Little Elm and saw R.J. Hampton practice and offered him a scholarship.
Coach, you were working.
Man. And Stacey Houston, if he's still on, he'll remember this to this day because he's the one who told me about RJ.
Oh, that's good.
But I was all in on Cade. Right. Told him at the time, dude, I don't care who recruits you. And you got to remember, Cade was still kind of flying below the radar here at this time.
Yes.
In fact, nobody really had taken that leap that he's taken until about April of last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a 2.5 year head start. And so all the stuff about me hiring his brother, it sounds good because that's the headline. And I'm cool.
Yeah.
I'll do it tomorrow.
Yes. Me
all
too.
over again.
Me too.
But really, I had already done the work. I really just put the icing on the cake at that point.
Coach, now that tells me why he didn't jump and go do this and go do this.
I'll tell you this, Patty. So we come down, and I've got his brother on my staff at this point when he's going through the recruiting.
Yeah.
And everybody. I mean, Roy Williams and Calipari, and they all coming in there. They flying in. I would never go to Montverde when they were there.
Okay.
Because I wasn't worried about them. They was worried about me. And that's the way I wanted it. So we got to this conversation about last August about where he wanted to visit. And he wanted to take some visits. Yeah. And I said to Cade, you get 5 visits, man. Mm-hmm. You need to take all of them.
Wow.
We had the conversation. Well, who should I go to? He had a top 10 in Florida and all these other schools involved. I said, go visit Kentucky. Go to North Carolina. And we were trying to figure out when he would visit. Uh-huh. Normally in that situation, unless I felt really confident, I wouldn't take the first visit.
Okay.
Because it gives you too much time to lose. Right? You ain't as sexy after the 3 more dates. So I took the first visit and we strategically told him, go to North Carolina when they have Late Night with Roy. Go to Kentucky when they have Big Blue Madness. Go to Florida's homecoming when they play Alabama in football. I want you to see the best because at the end of the day, my relationship is going to win out over all that stuff.
Coach, you planted that seed in that kid, but keep on going.
Absolutely. But I also had an ace in my pocket too, right? I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Every time a visit was happening, I'm getting all the intel because I got somebody in the house in the family meeting too.
Yes. I love
so
that.
I kind of had,
Yeah.
Coach, Coach, did you think that move hiring the brother pissed off a lot of the coaches that's in the blue bloods?
I'm gonna give you a timeline on that.
Yeah.
And I knew I was gonna do it. I met with Cannon at the Final Four in Minneapolis. I didn't hire him until June.
Okay.
Publicly, right? So Cade's gonna go to there's always this conflict between USA Basketball and NBA camp.
Yeah.
So he's going to go to USA Basketball trials for the 1900 team. Makes the team. And I hired Cannon off the record the week before so that he could go and be at USA Basketball trials the whole time without any restrictions.
And that's normal. That's normal.
With in mind, he's also going as an Oklahoma State person. So this will happen.
Yeah, he get to watch other players as well.
Yeah. So he goes up there. He got some gear. He picked up some gear and all that stuff. And he walking around Colorado Springs USA basketball facility with Oklahoma State gear on the whole week. And I walk in, and if they could shoot me, man, walking in that building, I'd be dead. Because, everybody's got guys they're recruiting on the 1900 team.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of them are high school seniors or to-be seniors and a couple of college guys, but most of them are high school guys. So it's everybody. And Krzyzewski's in there and Coach Williams and Kyle, and Cannon walks in there with me with an Oklahoma State shirt on.
I love it. Keep going, Coach. Hold on to Chop Shop.
That was, I think that kind of set up. I mean, people thought it was in bad taste, but listen, I wasn't gonna hide from it.
No.
And at the end of the day, I'm here to help our program. And again, I think for the people who want to criticize it, they don't understand the 2016 to 2018 time frame.
Yeah.
In 2016, in November, Cade played in a game at his high school, the same time that the Hoops Fest was going on at Duncanville.
Okay.
We had played in Maui. Our Oklahoma State team played in Maui. I left after our last game without our team. I took a red eye from Maui, from Honolulu to Dallas, and went to Arlington Bowie High School while everybody was over at Duncanville. I was literally the only one in there other than about 6 parents.
Wow.
So I got a little bump in Hicks.
Yeah.
hey, that's how you got to do it, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Like going to the back gym, man, when nobody, that side court.
And so some of you guys, you're getting a chance to see on this platform. This is why a lot of people will not like people who take advantage of the rule to the fullest. And sometimes, and that's why I'm going to ask you, Coach, do you think there's a double standard? Because we've seen other people, other coaches hire parents, relatives of prospects, and it's like that's a smart move. But when you did it, tell us about that.
Yeah, it's interesting because, and I knew it, but again, I don't, like I told you, I don't let nobody manipulate how I move. I'm cool with criticism, so I accepted that from the beginning. But I've seen time and time again. I grew up with DeJuan Wagner. So I know Milt well. I wasn't mad when he got that job at Memphis. Your home school, buddy. I wasn't mad. I knew that meant Wani was going there.
Right.
Nobody was.
What were you at then, Coach? What were you at then?
So I'm only a year older than him. So I was in college. So we grew up.
Okay.
So I saw his recruitment, and I kind of saw it happen.
I got you.
Nobody hollered and kicked and screamed when what's Mario's dad's name? Chalmers.
Yeah, I don't know his dad's name.
I can't think his dad's name. I know him.
He was on self-staff at Kansas.
Yes.
Hey, Mike, you got an opening on your staff? I just got breaking news.
Listen.
I'm just asking.
You tell me who's first.
Okay. Mike Miller stepped down as Memphis assistant coach.
You know what?
Hold on.
That is.
Why you put the horns on?
Hold on, Jimmy. All right, now, Mike, proceed.
It's interesting. I heard something about that in like February or March that he was thinking about
doing something,
moving on,
doing some other stuff. Yeah.
And a big part of the concern was how that was going to affect the recruitments of Jalen Green and Greg Brown. Because I guess he was the lead recruiter for both of those guys.
Yes.
And
so we didn't get none of them guys. So
somebody posed a question. Hey, would you consider Mike Miller if? And I said, yeah, I would consider it. So it always. I don't have a staff opening right now.
Okay.
But that don't mean I can't.
Hey, he can make a staff opening.
Hey, come on.
Once again, when black head coaches do it, it's something to it. But remember now, who was that Gene Katie went up on the East Coast and they made a position for him as an advisor to the coach.
Jimmy.
Yeah, so
Jimmy, you didn't hear this man, Jimmy. That man's talking like a CEO. Jimmy, y'all, listen, did you hear what he said?
Oh, absolutely.
Go on, Mike. You can go on.
We got it. Okay. Now I want to ask you, Coach, something serious. It's about what's going on today. We got about 5 minutes left.
Yeah, let's get okay.
What do you think? We get right to it. What do you think are two things that white America needs to know or should try to understand about Black folk right now?
I really don't believe it's that complex, to be perfectly honest. I don't think it's easy, but I don't think it's as complex as some of the conversation is, because I think it comes down to just a couple things. First of all, you don't have to be afraid of Black folks.
Okay.
That's what fear.
Yes,
fear drives a lot of this. Mm-hmm. Fear of power, fear of physical overtaking, mm-hmm. fear of, maybe a renaissance coming and revolution, and it's fear. And then the other thing is accept the wrongdoing and help to right it. So there's a lot of talk about all lives matter. Well, yeah, sure. That means Black lives matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So, yes. And what we're trying to tell them is Black lives haven't mattered. So when you say all lives matter, no. Until Black lives matter also, then what you're saying isn't true.
Mike, I got a video, Mike Fusack, of a young lady at some college. And she used an analogy, Mike. I wish you can see it, but you won't be able to see it, but you can hear it. Look what she's saying. Check this out, Mike.
Hey, what are you doing? Oh, this house is on fire, so we're gonna go help them. We're gonna go put out the fire. Well, what about my house? What? What about my house? Doesn't it matter? Is your house on fire? No, but, it still matters. Nobody said that it didn't. It's just that this house is on fire, and people's lives are at stake if we don't do something about it. Okay, all houses matter.
Powerful, Mike.
Yeah, that's that's about as well as you can put it, right?
Yes.
Because if a house is on fire, the fire department drives by a lot of houses to get to the burning house. They don't just go spraying the hose down the whole street. They go directly to where the problem is. And that's the point. If all these houses matter, then we need to get the fire out of this house that's burning.
Yes.
So that we can really say that they all matter. Because if we just keep letting this one burn because yours isn't on fire, then we're saying that house don't matter. And there's the other conversation about white folks, and I have a lot of white friends, and I've told many of them this because I think we said earlier, we got a captive audience. People want to know how they can be a part of this.
Mm-hmm.
Privilege is real. It's really simple in my mind. What is privilege? It's the opportunity to get the benefit of the doubt. When I walk into a store and a white man walks into a store, he's automatically a shopper, and I might be a shopper.
Wow.
But I might not be a shopper. I might be there for something else. Mm-hmm. I might be there to cause trouble. I might be there to steal something. Mm-hmm. So when they start trying to figure out who they're going to watch around this store, they're going to watch me. Because they don't just assume I'm there to spend the money that I worked hard to earn. Mm-hmm. When a white man and I am jogging down the street,
preach, Mike,
and a white man is jogging past another white man, he gives him a wave, a hey, how you doing, man? You in great shape. You know what they do when they see me jogging? They go to the other side of the street. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The benefit of the doubt is what privilege is. It's really that simple. And when we can accept that that's a real thing, and that it goes back 400 years to where we were brought here and told we gotta work for free so that you can live well, That's what we did.
Yes.
And then and then we took a step, right? We took a step. We said, all right, y'all don't have to work for us no more. So go ahead.
Well, I mean, that's
where we going. We don't have no land. We don't have no jobs. We don't have what? Huh? Y'all got all the land now. Y'all stole all this land. Y'all ain't gonna give us nothing. All right. Never mind. You're not property. You are 3/5. This was a law. You are 3/5 of a person.
Yes.
On the books, Christian people put this into the law.
Yes, sir.
So we can't act like this stuff isn't real, and that we don't have to do everything we can to change the system. The system won't change itself. Black people have to be involved in changing the system too.
Thank you, Mike. Wow.
Hey, man, well said, Coach.
Oh, my goodness.
We up against the clock, and we definitely appreciate, man, you joining us anytime, and every time you join us on the Chop Shop, you spit nothing but nuggets. And I know people, and sorry for you guys that we weren't able to get to your questions.
Yeah.
I'll be back. I'll be back.
Yeah, absolutely. And he will indeed, because we got a lot of stuff we definitely want to get your thoughts on. We'll get you back in a couple of weeks. And we'll schedule it and lock him in. Because by popular demand, one thing I learned, you mentioned Book Richardson, New York Gauchos, Riverside earlier. Book was on last Thursday. That was his first extensive interview, and was on the Chop Shop. And it was a dual effect after he went off. It was so powerful that not only did a lot of the viewers wanted him back, he wanted to come back.
Yes.
And that's one of the things I always just play with it. Hey, yo, Coach, you come on back anytime. But he texted after the show, can I come back on Monday? I said, hold on, Book, it's too soon. We need some days. Let it soak in for a while. I said, well, Thursday would work. But bottom line, Book will be on tomorrow. We're having Book, and he's going to come back for part 2 of the conversation with him. But once again, thanks,
Mike.
Appreciate y'all, man.
I mean, this is awesome, man.
And Mike, do me a favor. When you exit out, just hit the red button.
Okay.
When you exit out.
We'll do it. Appreciate y'all, man.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Wow. Unbelievable.
I mean, that was good. That was good. A great convo. And once again, we covered a lot of topics with him. We tried to in that short span, and we will get Coach back. You guys just let us know. Want him back. Send us an email, chopshophtx@gmail.com. Once again, chopshophtx@gmail.com. If you're on one of our social media platforms right now, if you're on YouTube, we're streaming live simultaneously. Give us a thumbs up. If you're on Facebook, share the show right now to your family, your friends, your timelines, your hoop groups. Share it right now. Meanwhile, we're gonna take a break, pay some quick bills, come back. Our second guest, guess what? Going to NBA. They're expected to take a vote on tomorrow, right? We're about resuming the season. We have one of the NBA coach is about to join us. And we're going to also have a talk about the league. And guess what? We're going to continue the conversation with him as well. Be right back. Chop Shop.
Above all sports hoops is where the action's at. www.aboveallsportshoops.com and get registered today.
Welcome back to the best 120 minutes of your day. And guess what? It don't stop. Jimmy Hicks, as customary, he's going to introduce this guest. I mean, I'm going to tell y'all, let me stop right now. Because Jimmy been knocking it out of the park with these guests, man. Let me tell you something. I'll sprinkle in a guest every now and then, but this man is just unbelievable. So let me tell you something. Y'all give him his flowers. while he here. You know he like that. So on the Facebook feed, y'all get Jimmy something. Give him something. Get a drummer some right now. Cause Jimmy, I'm so proud of you. And I'm just glad, proud to be a part of the Chop Shop, where you're able to bring this kind of quality guests day after day after day after day. These some powerful men you bringing on this show. And without further ado, let you introduce the next guest.
I mean, if we get right into it, guys, we got Nathaniel Mitchell, Nate Mitchell, and he's an assistant coach with the Charlotte Hornets. You see, I'm old school when I start saying the Bobcats. How about that? But I start thinking about the Melka Okafor and stuff. But anyway, and this young man is intriguing because of the fact that they knew when they hired him as an assistant coach. Now, is somebody feeding back? I hear something looping back. Howard. Anyway, okay, there we go. If they knew when they hired him as an assistant, it was purposely done because they knew he was young enough to speak the language of a lot of the guys that are on that roster. You know, and that's a smart move, as though, believe it or not, even though you don't have to be the same age to be able to speak that language. And a lot of, even though, I understand, like the Houston Rockets, John Lucas is 66 years old, right? But he can speak the language of the guys on that roster, meaning that he can understand some things way before the head coach can. And this is a young man right here getting a valuable experience to be in the NBA. And this is what we want to do. He wanted to come and join the Chop Shop. Guess what? ESPN, they want his boss. Fox, they'll want the assistant coach that sit on the front row. You know what I'm saying? If we go to another network, they'll want the GM. Woj don't want to talk to him. He want to talk to MJ. So this is where a platform where it can help him to sharpen his conversation skills and also be able to let you guys understand how how you or your student athletes can one day be in position where he is and grow forth. So without further ado, welcome to the Chop Shop, Nate Mitchell. What's going on, guy?
Man, I appreciate y'all having me on, Jim and Robert. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you for the opportunity.
And so, what is it like? I mean, the NBA season. I mean, what you guys? You're unfortunately, the rumor is that they're probably going to allow 22 teams have resume the season. You, Charlotte Hornets, are not amongst those 22 teams. So, what does that mean? What do you guys want to do now?
To be honest, all the information just got let out today. You know, Woj just threw out that tweet. So it's trickling down. They're trying to get to all the organizations that are not involved to give us a better understanding of what the other teams can do. Obviously, there's about 8 teams right now that won't be able to play in Orlando. I think all 8 teams are pretty disappointed, but this is for the betterment of the league, the safety, for us to go forward and get better. So we're now going to sit down as a staff and as an organization and try to plan out what we can do for our players in order to keep getting better, how we can figure out to play and compete. Because, you know, not playing till possibly next December or January could be a long time.
And so you guys, tell me this, if they would have allowed everybody to come back, knowing that you guys were mathematically eliminated, were your players really really down for that, or your organization?
Well, our organization right now we're in a mode of player development. We got a lot of young players. We want to get better, and so every game that we can play is valuable. Actually, we were 1 game out of the 22, so we would have been the 23rd team in terms of records. In Washington, who was ahead of us, we had 23 wins, they had 24. So, I mean, we're disappointed, but we understand how the competition committee put this thing together, and for the betterment of the league to move forward. But we are just trying to get better. And those games we thought would have been valuable to continue our young group who, at the end of the season, was making strides. We had beaten a team, Houston, We had beaten the Raptors in Toronto. We just came off a big-time win against the Heat at Miami. So we felt we were going in the right direction with our young players, and we thought that these games would only help.
Now, tell us your role as an assistant coach, because different assistants, how many assistants are they on the average NBA team, and what do you do with the Charlotte Hornets?
On average, it's about 6. There's about three assistant coaches that sit at the front of the bench and another 3 that sit in the back. Roles differ from offense to defense. Me in particularly, I concentrate on the player development side as well as the defensive side of the ball. So I'm very involved, and coach gives everybody a voice. Where offensively, I'm also allowed to, talk about how we can get better on those aspects of the game. So I'm grateful to coach underneath a coach who gives me a voice. Doesn't matter the side of the ball, as well as improve our players, our young players. And obviously players are divvied up between assistant coaches, but us as a staff really help the development of these coaches. And I've been truly blessed to be around some young guys that have taken off this season, like, PJ Washington and Devontae Graham and Miles Bridges, and these guys doing a great job. There's more, obviously, the young Cody Martin, Caleb Martin twins. They're playing well as well as Jalen McDaniel. So we're really proud of our young group. And that is where our focus is, on player development and getting better. And just fortunate to come where I've come from, being a young black kid from Toronto, to get in the mix and help these guys get better.
Now, PJ Washington, you mentioned him. He's from Dallas, went to Findlay Prep. Him, and of course, and his pops was a coach over there at Findlay. Twofold question. Did you guys know that PJ would be this productive when he was a rookie? And 2, who gets the credit? Which one of the scouts say this is the guy made the decision?
Man, us as a staff, we were unable to evaluate him in summer league. He was hurt, right? So if you go back to the Kentucky season, he had the shoulder issue, he had the foot issue. He didn't really work out for a lot of teams. And so we weren't really able to evaluate him, except for the fact that we can go back and watch film on how he played at Kentucky. And when he was healthy, he was very good. Even his freshman year, he played with those guys. I was able to see him a lot because they had a Canadian kid on the team, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, that I know pretty well. So I was able to watch the team, and he was always good. I thought he could be productive at this level. But he was able to come in to the team, understand the game, had a great understanding of the game, and that goes a lot to his father as a coach. And he was able to shoot the ball really well, pass the ball. He brought a lot of skills, a versatile player on the offense and defensive end. And that credit goes to the whole front office who, everybody played a part into making sure we're drafting a player that can come in and be ready to play right away.
Coach, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I saw some people just asked about what does Malik Monk needs to do to take his game to another level?
Man, Malik's one of the most talented guys on our team. You name it: ball handling, passing, shooting, leaping ability. He has all the tools you need for a guy to be successful in this league. Mm-hmm. For him, as a young player in this league, most guys are trying to find their niche. What can I do on an everyday basis, right? There were times in the season where he struggled offensively, and then there were times where we went to Paris and we're playing the number 1 team in the NBA, Milwaukee, and he goes and hangs 30 on them, right? So this is the consistency part of young players that try to, find their niche in the NBA and can be consistent. It's probably the toughest thing to do. We had a kid, Devontae Graham, who started off the season, was on fire. People were talking about, not only most improved player in the NBA, but
All-star.
An all-star.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then he had a big dip in January. Same thing with PJ. I mean, these young guys go on waves, right? They go on waves, and as you look at the stars in the NBA, like you talk about LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Dame Lillard. I mean, you can keep going for days. But these guys, every night, man, every night they're giving you something. It's 9 out of 10. Where young guys sometimes it's 3 or 4, and that's part of the play development and putting our arms around them as coaches and helping them continue to improve.
You want to let him know, Jimmy?
Yeah, you can. What we'll do is real quick, guys. We're going to we're going to pause real quick for a quick calls, and we'll come right back. We have with Nate Mitchell and talk some more NBA talk, as well as how did he get to the Charlotte Hornets into the coaching ranks of the NBA. This whole type.
Above all sports hoops is where the action's at. Go to www.aboveallsportshoops.com and get Above All Sports Hoops is where the action's at. Go to www.aboveallsportshoops.com and get registered today.
Okay, we back. Wait, we back. Nate, you there?
Back on the Chop Chop.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Assistant coach of the Charlotte Hornets in the NBA. And tell us your journey. You mentioned you're from Canada. How did you tell us your journey to what got you here?
Man, if you start with the coaching, I was coaching AAU basketball in Toronto. And I was also coaching like high school girls basketball at my old high school. And my journey after playing was kind of like, how was I going to get to college? I wanted to be a college coach the whole time. That was my deal. I wanted to recruit players. I wanted to get, I thought I had a niche with the Toronto players coming into the NCAA. At the time, we had big-time players going in like Corey Joseph and Tristan Thompson, who played at the University of Texas, who was recruited by my guy, Ronnie Terry. Made sure I had to say hello to you guys. Ronnie Terry said, what's up?
Yeah.
He coached me at Fresno State. So
he's at UTEP now.
I was at Fresno State as a grad assistant job. Yeah, that's right. At first, yes, sir. Ronnie was able to get me a job as a grad assistant at Fresno State. Unbelievable experience there. We had a really good season, and moved me that summer. Was trying to get an assistant coaching job, get into the recruiting at some level, but wasn't able to find one. And working with the national team that summer put me in a situation to be seen by a guy named Scott Morrison, who actually at the time was the head coach of the Maine Red Claws in the G League. And he gave me an opportunity to come in as an assistant coach, and it put me on an unbelievable platform to show my skills as a coach. And day by day, we had a great year there. And then the Toronto Raptors opened their G League team in the city, gave me an opportunity to go back home. So when I got back to Toronto, I spent 3 years there. One year with Jess Mermans as the head coach, and the next 2 years with Jerry Stackhouse. And one of those years with Stack, we had won the G League championship. Great years, which kind of led me to an opportunity that came up here in the Charlotte Hornets, with the Charlotte Hornets. And one of the assistant coaches with the Charlotte Hornets was Jay Triano, who at the time was the head coach of the Canadian national team, who told our head coach, hey, man, there's a guy in Toronto that's pretty good. You should take a look at him. And from that, I got an opportunity. And since then, I've been here in Charlotte.
And that's a great journey. Tell us a little bit about the Last Dance. What was the album? Of course, you guys, based on for the pandemic, you aren't in your organization. You guys have been apart from each other for for most of the past 75 days or so. But what is the atmosphere in the organization after the Last Dance aired?
You know what? Everybody is, did their best to follow along and watch it. There's an excitement to learn more about what happened.
Hold on one second. One second. Nate. One second. Nate. Sorry about that, guys.
So that was Rick.
Jimmy, you still there?
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
Just muted him. Just text him, Jimmy, and just tell him it was just too bad to continue.
The signal is just we cannot understand. That was isn't a bad. No, it happens sometimes. The weather. Yeah. I know they have some stuff going on the East Coast right now, as far as I think a hurricane or a tornado watch or something, and it happens sometimes with the signal. Yeah. So we sorry for the audio difficulties for a lot of you guys. That was Nate Mitchell, and we were trying to get into a groove. And I know that a lot of times if the audio isn't right, guys, then it's not making for a good chop shop. Yeah. So we are definitely sorry about that, and that was something that beyond the control. It happens. Yeah. It happened to all of us. Yeah, you just saw some of the first chop shop shows when we came on the Facebook feed and stuff. But think about it. You think back and make you laugh. I mean, you gotta find a way to make a laughable moment. But I want to give you guys breaking news that out of Minnesota, breaking news, they've decided to upgrade the charges for the already arrested officer from 3rd degree to 2nd degree murder. Okay. And they finally confirmed the rumors had simmered out last night that the attorney general had made a decision to charge those other 3 officers. Well, it's confirmed now, but the charges aren't released. And once again, they will charge the arrest and indict the other 3 officers. And so here's the thing. My question to a lot of you guys, and this is one of the things. Understand, everybody has to have views and different opinions about the aggressions or the demolishing of property and during protests that are initially supposed to be peaceful. My question is this though: do you think that if it was totally peaceful from the beginning and the 2 days in, that the match would have caught around the world as it did, or it would have resulted in these? And remember, that was the decision to remove the residing prosecutor off this case, the boss of the whole state. As Howard just mentioned the other day, this is a black man. They say, you know what? A black man who guess what he was before he got into politics? He was the Cornel X of up there. He was the street the black activists that used to be the thorn in their ass when it came to social injustices.
Yeah.
And he's the attorney general of the state.
And he good. And he's good.
And so they put him on it. When they put him on it, that meant now. Once again, they put him on it after the violence, after the unrest, after people became uncomfortable. And people say, well, I don't know what y'all tearing up this stuff for. That stuff ain't gonna work. Well, guess what? It just did.
Jimmy,
it just worked.
Jimmy, protesting. You know, I don't know if it would have worked or whatever. Protest, because peaceful protests have worked. Okay, it has worked. So we can say, but you know what I'm curious about? You know, this is what I don't want to happen. 98% of the protesters have been 98% has been peaceful. That's what I'm trying. And you're gonna have those who try to hijack the movement. You're gonna have those. Or you know, wherever there's chaos, wherever there's anger, wherever there's pain, there's a lack of leadership from the most powerful office on the land. You can have a little anarchy in there, Jimmy. But as I watch these riots and I watch these burnings, and someone who was born in Memphis, Tennessee, watching the looting, I see people dumbfounded. I see, you know, some white people dumbfounded on why this is happening. It made me say what I'm about to say, Jimmy. For those of us who didn't grow up in an urban environment, I grew up poor, I grew up broke. For y'all who didn't, sometimes in our culture and in rap music, Jimmy, in reverse, Jimmy, we romanticize on what it was like to be back in the hood. You know, it's kind of good because they didn't necessarily have to grow up there. You know, we have a lot of ghetto tales. But when you see people burning up their community, let me repeat that. When you see people burning up their own community, the best example I can give is, Jimmy, to be the equivalent of prisoners burning up the yard. In their minds, we in prison. We have no rights. We don't own anything anyway. Because, Jimmy, the people who tear up other people's stuff, you couldn't own nothing if you're going tearing up. Ain't nowhere in the world I'm going tearing up nobody's stuff because I know how hard I work for mine. So that mindset, hey, I ain't got nothing to lose. And Jimmy, it's not a black book that says, here are all the stores, the mom pop stores, they black owned. Don't hit these stores because they owned by black. Don't hit these. These people gonna tear everything up in sight until these people stop listening. Like you just said, Jimmy. They gonna tear up stuff until these people stop listening. Jimmy, Minnesota acted quickly and swiftly. The moment that prosecutor came out of his mouth, that press conference, talking about what he couldn't do and what he didn't want to be, we knew we had to get him out of there. And the governor said, man, y'all ain't gonna tear up my state. Jimmy, I think this pandemic and this coronavirus has forced everybody to just sit still. Just like watching The Last Dance. Just sit still a little bit and really digest this stuff when we're not moving in our hustle and bustle. What is actually going on in our society? The next challenge is going to be what? How do we fix it? Jimmy, how do we fix it?
That's the thing. Understand? We're saying how we fix it. One thing we do know that we, for starters, unless you're talking about a total David versus Goliath type uprising in the country, civil war, unless in which it's not even in the conversation right now of reality. But it would be a David, even in so it would be a David versus Goliath monumental type battle because we're outnumbered like to that magnitude. But so in reality, this is one of the reasons. I'm quite sure everybody has their own method of which they wish to solve their part of this, or everybody has their own brick that they wish to put into the wall. Here's the thing though, unless you have a greater chance of influencing, because I remember talking to Pete on Monday. I don't like the word convincing. If you're trying to persuade them, no, you can influence. Just like some people influence. You have a greater chance of influencing somebody that's white, that's in your circle, in your neighborhood, in your block, in your community. You have a greater chance of influencing them to at least try to understand what you're feeling right now. But once again, the conversation, they don't like you. White folk can't stand a black. They don't like you to raise your voice too loud when you're talking to them for two reasons. Well, that's too deep to get into today. No, but you understand. But understand this. I'm gonna give you this analogy, Alan. A lot of times, have any of you guys ever broke your cell phone? You were so mad you just threw your cell phone, or you were so mad you got your fist. We know, especially you athletes. After a game or halftime, you go in the locker room, or have you seen somebody had a teammate that was so mad they went and just punched the damn wall, knocked a hole in the wall.
I've seen it, but I haven't did it.
So when Shaq, a moment from The Last Dance, that was a scene when Shaquille O'Neal, they asked him what happened to the thing on the wall. Well, hell, I was pissed, and they laughed it off. Understand this. People who throw objects, break their own objects when they're pissed off, at that moment of festivity, that means they didn't give a damn what happened. They didn't. If all criminals would assess the consequences, crime would go down 1,000-fold automatically overnight. My point is, if a person is mad enough, and some people get mad enough, they go and that's why domestic violence has been on a spike upward since the pandemic. We talked about those numbers last month. The domestic violence, why? Because spouses, men get pissed off in the household. A couple of women have shot the husbands as a result as well. And guess what? They get violent, get physical. So if you understand something that you own, something that's yours, but you don't own a human being, but you get what I'm saying in the facet of it. So if that's the case, if you can get so mad that you can't control your emotions and it automatically results in you smacking somebody.
How do they fix it?
Huh?
How do they fix it? I thought how do we fix that?
No, I'm getting there. So that means if you multiply that and you say, well, why would they tap their own community? Yeah. If a person would tap his own damn cell phone, punch a hole in his own dashboard, they would go and smack their own girlfriend or their spouse in the phone. You think if they're mad enough, people are, obviously some people, not to speak for everybody, there are some people who were just that mad that they went there premeditatedly to go, and when they, and there are some people out there right now that I'm saying, you let the next time a white person say something to me, I'm going to go dead through their throat. There are some people that's saying that right now. And the white person have no idea that this is going to be the black guy that you say something wrong to him or skip him in line or because they're bold out there. But they know
so
that
you're saying, now you seem like you're saying this is a war against black and white. I thought we was going against the police. No, I thought the police would do. I mean, what?
No,
I'm not clear. I'm just not clear.
No. There's different layers. I'm talking about, remember now, that's why I say for whatever reason, there are some people right now are using this because they already were mad. Their water was already boiling. And so that means they might have been mad at the system, remember? So that means you're mad. There are some blacks that were mad at some white people. There are some blacks that are mad because there are some white people that have infiltrated the movement, the protest, and as a result, demolished property under the guise of being with this march or with these marches. And some people are mad at that. You see a lot of the videos, how people are mad. So that means now, how do you solve it?
I got some, Jimmy. I got some. That's why I said, how do we fix it? And if you're from the urban community, let me deal with my people first. You know how I am. I got a couple of steps. Okay. First of all, say and be the change that you want to see. Don't just talk about it, do it. And it doesn't cost money to give back to your community. Say, my number one thing in our urban community, this is what I want you to do. This ways we can fix it. Say and be the change that you want to see. Don't just talk about it, do it. Number two, vote. And I'm not just talking about the highest office of the land, but we definitely need to vote that over. But I'm talking about the prosecutors. I'm talking about the senators. I'm talking about the mayors. I'm talking about the governors. Have you noticed all of this stuff? The people in power are this case. If the governor don't intervene, if the AD of the attorney general wasn't black, the guy Jimmy, this thing would have still been lingering on. But Jimmy, the way we are stomping now, as we should be, in peace, I want to be a beacon to make sure we are doing the exact same thing when it's time to vote. And let's make some changes, man. The rage you feel, Jimmy, you just said it's rage. The rage you feel. Jimmy, check this out. The rage you felt on the 25th of May when he stepped on that man's neck. I want y'all to think about this, Jimmy, you and everybody, versus the rage you felt on the 24th of May, the day before. Let me go back, because people have been killing. Breonna Taylor just got shot in a bed by herself. There's a lot of this stuff been going on. But the rage you felt on the 25th, it was an important catalyst, an important remembrance, Jimmy, important element to bring this issue to the fore. Think about it. On the 24th, we was going by our business. And we should have still been pounding the pavement on the 24th. But on the 25th, you saw the video. Jimmy, we've been seeing videos. We saw Rodney King on video. We saw Philando Castile on video. We saw Mike Brown on video. We saw Eric Garner on video. It's much bigger. Y'all, it's just much bigger. Just because the protests go away, Jimmy, this is my plea. Because it's not on your timeline. We ain't talking about it on the chop shop. It's not on the nightly news. Does not mean, Jimmy, that the issues are any less important. Don't listen to me, y'all. Y'all hear me good on this one. Don't dedicate less energy into fixing the problem. We got a problem. We cussed them. What you said, Jimmy, they're in a rage. They want to fight. You want to hit on your wife. Let's use this same energy in fixing the problem. I gave you two. Be the change that you want to see. Because there's a lot of us out here ain't right. I could go on and on. But Jimmy, I'm gonna let Jim. Let me finish with just one thing. It's two things. I'm gonna give him two more things. You can directly affect the future of this country. It's two things. And how this issue plays out for the rest of our lives, for our kids' lives, and our grandkids. There's two things you can do. Your vote and your wallet. Jimmy, the more money you put into black businesses, The more money you put into mom and pop stores in your community, you should be more careful about spending your money. I've been talking about this for years. And I've been guilty of the same thing. I'm talking to me too. Listen to me. I'm speaking, but I'm talking to me. I'm going to tell you something. I'm not going to tell you that I buy only from mom and pop stores and businesses. I'm not. I have not lived my life that way. I am not the perfect model. But what I am doing, Jimmy, is starting to recognize it. And I'm changing and being more conscious of it. I don't have a time machine, Jimmy. I'm not Back to the Future, Marty McFly. I can't change my previous practices, but I can change right now. Pay more attention to that, my ladies and gentlemen. Divert more of your income back into the community. Especially once your community that's oppressed. I encourage you to do the same. I just want to extend a level of encouragement to you, man. That's it. I wasn't always perfect, but I've been conscious of it. Jimmy knows I'd rather go to the black restaurant. Why you think my affinity was for what's the Phil and Derek's? It's a lot of places I used to go to. But when I found a place like that, we supported it. We supported it. I mean, every week. I don't go nowhere every week, and I was there every week. Y'all, that's what we got. Your wallet and your vote can change this thing, man. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling. And like I said, I'm guilty of it too. But like I never forget, and I never forget, we're talking one day, and Jimmy said, man, I got to go buy some liquor. Dude, we got a black dude that owns a liquor store. I don't care how much his costs. I'm going over there and buy it there if I drink liquor. Terrell Buckley was the first client, go Google him, that we ever represented. He came to Houston, Jimmy. Got to tell the story. Came to Houston. He visited me. I thought he was just coming to hang out. Hung with me for a week. Got a chance to hang out with my son, all that, right? And he said something when I put him on the plane, got him on the plane, he was about to leave. He said, man, let me tell you something. I just came up here to get to know you a little bit better. I said, okay. He said, let me tell you something. You practice what you preach. I said, what you mean? I said, I went with you to your doctor to take your son to your son's pediatrician. He happened to be black. I went with you to your dentist. Your dentist had to be black. He said, dude, there was a young man, just got drafted by Green Bay Packers. He was watching me. He saw what I was doing. I didn't know what I was just doing what I was doing. I love my son's pediatrician. I love my dentist. But they were the best at what they did. And I sought them out. You know how people talk about, how we find out? Where's the black? How we find out? Go seek them out. Go seek them out. So that's my plea for the day. We can't keep worrying about when nobody else not liking us. Man, people might not never like us. But they respect your power. They respect your pocketbook. Don't you ever forget that. We spend more money than any other person ever. And guess what? We spend it in other cultures. We don't spend it back in our own culture. Had to share that with y'all today. But what else you got, Jimmy?
The average black dollar stays in the black community 7 hours. And that's based on a study that was done a couple of years ago. And I don't have the source of the study, but it did all races on the amount of the average that a dollar from different
in the community.
The different face facets of people, how long their dollars stay in their community. Blacks, 7 hours is the average. That $1 you get it. That means from your that you just spent 7 hours. That's the average. And that goes from the banks to everything else. But the thing is, it's about waking up and be able to understand one thing. I'll give you guys something about. There's a greater need now than ever to be able to go and research and fact check a lot of things that you read on social media. For example, early this morning, the owner of Facebook, who we're streaming on one of the portals that we stream on, came out and acknowledged finally. You know, he didn't come back and say he acknowledged he apologized for having his stance on the president and about frivolous posts and robotic posts that's been posted on the platform of Facebook. Well, among those posts, thing that made people mad recently, you guys may have heard that there was a blackout in Washington, D.C. the other day. That was a rumor that was going on social media. Twitter has made the movement last week to start, to start censoring certain falseness and just making steps. It doesn't, it may not, but it passed the look test. Well, what happened is they've come to find, it was in today's paper, that in today's Houston Chronicle, the article was about it, and it says that if you got one, you guys pick it up or look it up online, cron.com, that the robots is what started that rumor. They have proof that started that rumor. And what happened, Facebook took the rumor and quoted Twitter as the source. It was on Twitter, and so that means you had a source. And now the fake rumor about the blackouts and the people had to come back and bottom line is, my point is, fake news. Fake news. Now, speaking of fake news, Adam, I'll leave you guys with this. Remember they had the rumor earlier this week. That's what I'm saying. About Antifa. Remember this? In the marches. Remember this? Because we saw a lot of white people breaking stuff, videos of them damaging buildings and stores. Antifa. There's another article today about Antifa. Here's the title. This is an Associated Press article. False claims of Antifa protesters plaguing small U.S. cities. The small cities have, the smaller city, the more likely that they are red cities. Here's what, I'm gonna take something from this article. What they did was, these Antifa, let me read this one sentence out of here that's really important from this article. And this says that Twitter and Facebook busted some of the instigators behind the unsubstantiated social media chatter. Twitter determined Monday that a tweet promising Antifa would move into residential areas and white neighborhoods was sent by the white supremacy group Identity Evropa. They identified that a white supremacist group was behind that whole Antifa theory.
Okay, so, but what does that? We've been saying that.
No, we didn't been saying that.
Jimmy, how does that hurt? How does that change anything? How is that going to change your opinion about any of this stuff?
Well, what it does now, you're realizing the methods, the psychological warfare that they are willing to go, that they are already implementing.
They stole an election 3 years ago.
And guess what? Guess what? A lot of people, when it comes to white folk, black folk don't remember what they ate for breakfast. They only remember what they ate for dinner. When it comes to black folk, we get a life sentence for that same.
So what you telling them? What you telling us? Don't listen to what you You shouldn't be paying attention to what you see on social media anyway.
But I mean, but everybody.
No. Unless you back it up by several sources.
That's when you have to judge.
Jimmy.
That's when you have to go on your own to go.
I don't go by what I see on social media. I promise you I don't. Even if it's the blue check guys, I don't do it until I go get 4 or 5 sources. Somebody said something yesterday on a podcast, and I went and studied it for myself. They were wrong. They said, I don't know if y'all know, 10 years prior, it's a guy had got his knee put in his back and got killed. I'm going to tell you his name in a minute. In Minnesota 10 years ago. The cops were never charged. Insane Minnesota, right? But the podcast guy said the man was on the neck. The man had his neck on just like that. If I don't go and study the source, think about it. This somebody prominent was on a podcast. He said something, but me, before I repeated it to y'all, guess what I was going to do? I had to go and look at the source. And guess what happened, Freightman? The guy, they said, they need him in the middle of his back for 4 minutes, and the guy died. But on the podcast, it said he did it on the neck, just like Derek Carvin did. If I don't go check my sources, that's all I'm telling y'all. Don't believe all this stuff people tell. Even us. Get on Google. I tell you something, go see. Go get you some more sources. And then I promise you'll become way more educated if you do that.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's the thing, guys, and just being able to not be so gullible. And one thing I want to make sure I reiterate reinforce a statement I made earlier. I want to reinforce this article was about that statement had those type of hoaxes or conspired efforts had the most effect on the small cities. Remember that. Small cities. That's what the article in the headline. Small U.S. cities. And so because that's what they want to hear anyway. Because what they did was, if they heard that most of those small cities, a lot of small cities, I don't say most of them, a lot of small cities in America, remember, those are those towns you passing through when you go out of town, and you got that one gas station with about 3 pumps on it, that's it. If you go walk outside or somewhere in those cities, they're more prone to have nationalists, white nationalists in a lot of those areas. So that's what the point is. So that type of rumor is what sparks them, but they the one that's behind the rumor, and they're sitting back laughing at the whole play. But anyway, Jimmy, now
I know we got 2 minutes. I got to get this out. I saw a video of a young black boy jumping over the fence. I don't know if you've seen it. And the little white girl jumped over the fence in front of him, and the police approached him.
Yeah.
She got in front of him.
Yeah, it went viral. Yeah.
Unbelievable. The reason I want to say this, y'all, let me get this right. Y'all got to help me with this. Y'all got to help me. Mindy, I'm glad you're on the show. You got to help me with this. Let me get this right. Instead of arresting 4 people, Jimmy, who were complicit in murdering one man, while 40 million people are unemployed, you will arrest over 5,000 Americans, put them on a curfew, rubber bullets, tear gas. Be sure you don't want to hold 4 cops accountable for murdering somebody in cold blood. This stuff ain't changed, y'all. The laws and the government has not changed. That's what we fighting against. We pay their salaries. We pay their attorney fees. This thing should always be, ladies and gentlemen, don't let nobody get you off. Police reform. I've seen a lot of police brutality in response to the protests about police brutality. I'm going to repeat that. I've seen a lot of this thing should be about police reform, everybody. Don't let nobody get you off on focus. I've seen a lot of police brutality these last 6 days in response to protests about police brutality. It's crazy. It's crazy. Jimmy, you can take it from there.
Somebody had a question on one of the platforms, asked a simple, how do you easily fact check social media posting? Well, I'll give you one. Understand something. You can go and research on your own Google. You have Google, a search engine. Yeah. That's one way. And go layers and just find out for yourself. That takes time though, but it's worth it to those who, if it's something that rather than spew some false, some fictitious stuff, then it's worth it. Number two, which really is number one. Number one, if it's on Twitter, one sign is look at the amount of followers. It doesn't really necessarily tell you everything, but the robots don't have a lot of followers. Look at when they join. It'll tell you when they join. If they just joined Twitter in 2020 and they spewing out info after info, but understand, and they don't have many followers, that's a red flag. That's a red flag. That's one way. So that means that without passing the look test, red flag.
Jimmy, this person who I saw on this podcast, who I listened to and got that bad information, was from a national ESPN platform. He got more red blue checks than anybody. Jimmy, and the man's name, and y'all can go look it up. The man's name is David Cornelius Smith. That's the guy who got killed by Minnesota police. Jimmy, just so happened, before I gave that information to our people, I just said no. So what I did, guess what I did? So somebody wanted to find out how? I went and Googled David Cornelius Smith, the guy he was talking about. He said that police put the knee on his neck. This is a national guy. I'm not going to call his name. A national guy gave me bad information. I don't care what he is. All I did, I'm going to help y'all. I said, David Cornelius Smith. I put him in there and went back and looked at it, and I read 7 different accounts on it. And the 7 different accounts were all different. Not all different. They were the same. The guy on the TV show was wrong. And guess what?
And that's possible. And I understand something. That doesn't mean that a person with a blue check can't be wrong or can't. But understand, that means they could have grabbed something or could have said something and passed it on without. I know
he got it from somebody else, Jimmy. Yeah, he said, but Jimmy, why he didn't do like me? I fact checked it.
Tyler, all eggs don't hatch on the same day. Why do we not understand that about people? Everybody is not enthused about going to find out the damn truth just because they want to. That's about everybody is not. Okay. If that's the case, we would all go research pork.
Okay.
Some people don't give a damn. They're gonna eat their willy until they fall out. Or the red meat. Think about it. Everybody's not enthused.
I ain't talking. This wasn't the issue. The lady on this feed, what she say? How do you easily check social media posts?
No,
that's all I was giving her, a way to do it. Hold on. She don't listen. She don't have to do it, but she asked.
But I'm saying that the first eye test is look at that before you even just look at that. If a person only got 27 followers and that's a red flag. That don't mean it ain't true. No. That's a red flag. That's what they're telling us in the article. It's saying that it's in there. That's a red flag. I'm just quoting the article from the Associated Press. It is a red. And you think about it is a red flag. I got trolls all the time on Twitter, and I look up 22 followers, 2 followers. Somebody trying to bait you in, or is somebody making up another account, a dummy account, trying to ask me about something this or say something about that. It happens all the time. That's a red flag. I don't even, and I remember a while back I made a comment in 2019. I told you I'm not replying to nobody that has less than so many followers. I know how to, you remember I said that to somebody. because you can get into falling into that easily. But speaking of Minnesota, on the land with some other good news. Well, like good news, interesting news out of Minnesota. Remember, wasn't it earlier in the week? Was it the Timberwolves or one of the pro or the WNBA? One of the sports teams, no, it was the college, University of Minnesota. So they were canceling their contract with the Minnesota Police Department, right? This was earlier this week, the University of Minnesota. So that means now as a result, and the aftermath, the school district, right? The Minneapolis Public School District has announced that they will stop all negotiations with the police department, right? And they voted to end their contract as well with them following the death of George Floyd. So once again, you're hitting people in the pockets because that's the overtime jobs that a lot of police officers rely on. Like when you go somewhere and you see an officer dressed and they're working at a grocery store, they're working at an event, they're getting that's their side money. So now that's being taken away from the school district. Now, however, the superintendent has until August the 17th to come up with an alternate plan, a solution, because if the Minneapolis Police Department is not working in the schools anymore, up under the jurisdiction of the public schools, that is, then you have to find some what they call it? What's Ice Cube them name on that movie? Day. You gotta go find some Day-Days or something to replace that. That's intriguing. That's two entities in 1 week that have ended their contracts with the Minneapolis Police Department. That's a hell of a stance. The establishment is going on. And I want to throw something else that have reason why Mark Zuckerberg, one of the reasons why he came up with that comment that I mentioned, you guys can Google it, about saying he was wrong or he apologized for the stuff. Well, one of their major sponsors have pulled out. So you're hitting them in the pocket. That gets their attention all the time.
Boy. I just said that. Spend your money, man. Spend your money where people who care about you. Okay. And
Top Flight Security. There you go, Todd Biley and Darryl Richardson.
Top Flight Security?
That's what they were called. Ice Cube in that movie. They
Top Flight Security of the world, Craig. I didn't hear you. Craig, I think I got a Jimmy. I think I got a semi-troll on here looking at me. I think I got one. Yeah. We're talking about absolutes and all of that kind of shit. I mean, it's unbelievable. Man, end this show, man.
Absolute.
End this show.
He said, we had a troll earlier. You talking about another one?
Let's go. It's 2:08. Yeah.
So it is that time. Guess what, guys? On tomorrow, coming on the Chop Shop, we got, of course, grassroots basketball will be in effect. We got Big E, Irvin Davis out of Dallas with the Dallas Showtime grassroots program. And also, by popular demand, we have Book Richardson is going to rejoin us to continue the conversation from out of New York City. So it's going to be good. And also, I added a bonus for you guys. Let's add a bonus. We got some local flavor. We're going to have Bobby Benjamin with the Houston Raptors.
He coming on tomorrow.
We're going to join us tomorrow. Got to look out for the local guy in that way. So we got 3 the hard way on Thursday. And, of course.
Wait a minute, who is the 3?
I just told you.
Bobby
Benjamin, Big E.
Big E. Okay. I missed Big E.
3 the hard way coming on Thursday. And then guess what? On Monday, I can't wait for this conversation. And I'm looking and I see now why John Lucas wanted so bad to get on the Chop Shop on a separate day. He said he didn't want to come on the Thursday with the grassroots guys because he gonna talk some grassroots, but he has some serious conversation for you guys. And sure enough, looking in today's Houston Chronicle, big article, front page story, John Lucas right on the front cover. And that is where is that? Let me show y'all.
I don't get the paper.
Let me see. Front cover. Look. Front cover is John Lucas in today's Chronicle. Okay. And he shares a story that he just experienced with racism just last summer. Or it was one of the recent summers in the Vegas Summer League. A hell of a story. You guys make sure you go and you check it out. And so he was real. I can feel he's like, man, I got something to say. And he also has some stuff to say about Steve Kerr and about Popovich. You guys can't. I'm not going to spill the beans. On Monday, it's going down. So that's why I'm gonna tell you. That's one conversation. Guess what else we got on Monday? I promised that I would get some police officers to come and have the conversation, because you want to know what they're feeling on that side of the fence. You want to know how, understand. That's a whole different conversation, because a lot of people have family members who are police officers, and a lot of them are getting the rap. And you think how this goes? A lot of them are getting the bad rap because we know there's bad, just like they know it's bad cops. You guys know about the blue wall of silence that we mentioned on Monday. But so now we're gonna have police officers gonna talk, and guess what I went and done? I got an active police officer. I even have a retired police officer. That way now the retired police officer ain't got to worry about going back to work and nobody getting him in trouble because what he might say. And he says he ready to talk. So guess what? I'm ready to give you a mic.
And y'all have y'all questions ready for the police. Man. And be respectful and don't be a troll. Jimmy, we had a hell of a troll. That troll, I think it was a fan. Who is Oklahoma State's biggest nemesis? Oklahoma?
Boomer Sooner. That's OU.
Okay. I think that was an OU fan. Came on. He was talking crazy, man. When folks came, Coach Jimmy, I hit the like button first by mistake, right? He talking about, I don't even know how to ban him. I hit the right button on his ass the second time, though. But it was good, man.
Well, of course, anyway, guys, it is that time, guys. I got to get up out of here. And thanks so much for tuning to the Chop Shop. Thanks so much for sharing and making this show what it has become. And we only can strive to get better every day. And
Jimmy, what has Tillman Fertitta done today?
I don't know what he did today, but I know he did give the people in the Houston Rockets organization, he gave them the full reins to speak their mind on this stuff that's going on. Okay. So I do know that. Now, I don't know what he did today, but I know he did it. That was on yesterday.
And Jimmy, somebody said we can land the shuttle. I think somebody said, but if you look our background, that's SpaceX out there at the space. I'm infatuated by space. And for the next few days, y'all, them guys at the International Space Station, they sending back pictures to Earth, and I'm capturing them. Hey, Jimmy, we're gonna be on the moon. We might be on the moon tomorrow.
Well, guess what? And of course, on tomorrow, we're definitely gonna talk about that Zion. That ain't got away from us. We will talk about.
Oh yeah, I got some Zion stuff. Tomorrow.
I didn't want to put one of these college coaches in a different type of situation with the Zion thing, but we will talk about that on tomorrow. Meanwhile, guys, it's time to slide on down Dino's back and yabba dabba do this thing. See you guys in 22 hours. On behalf of Coach Robert Hatter, myself, Jim Hicks, we up out here. Chop Shop.
Let me hit that button on him, Jimmy. Hold on.
Jim Hicks. Rob Hatter. You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop.